All right, hello, and it is that time. It must be 2 o'clock in the Mile High City because the Modern Eater Show is live right now. We're at Molly's Spirits.
I love this place. I got to tell you,
it.
it's our second week here, and this is nothing but fun in the Liquid Lounge.
We got a great show lined up for you today. That's the voice of Brian Freeman right here with me, Greg Holland back, and we've got Jay Parker at Molly's Liquid Lounge. We are at the Greenwood Village location off of Arapahoe Road and I-25. Big show for you, 2:30 p.m. Bob Pease from the Brewers Association. He's the president and CEO. He's going to join us. 60% of craft breweries here in Colorado are projected to slow down, meaning close.
I don't like that.
By summertime.
I don't like that.
It's a big number, and layoffs come on the national level and on the local level of the Brewers Association. So we'll talk about that, too. 3 p.m., Charlie Gottenkieny from Bruz Beers. He's going to come on the show via Zoom. He's going to stream in and talk to us at 3 p.m. 3:15, Zach Kreider and Rick Robbins from Colorado Mills Sunflower Products. How's the farming going? Support your farmer, know your farmer.
Yep.
We're going to show you what's happening in Lamar, Colorado, so we'll jump down to Lamar.
Big news with those guys, too. You're going to tell them all about it. I love it.
I'm not so sure I know what the big news is.
We're going to find out today, folks.
I know. 3:30, Larry Herz will join us at Molly's from OCN Eats and Drinks, and Larry's got What's for Lunch.
Larry's lunch. What's for lunch?
And Sara Metz from Code 4 Counseling to round off the show. And we'll talk to Sara Metz, Dr. Baby Yoda. In the meantime and in between time, we want you to share the stream. Of course, I'm going to Facebook right now, and that's exactly what you need to do, is jump on, share, and like. And then also, if you don't mind, head over to our YouTube channel. If you watch it from there, click subscribe. We'd really enjoy that. So as our viewers are coming in, we'd like to say hello to our guest right now, Nick from Molly's are with us. Good to see you, Nick.
Good to see you.
Well, let's take a tour. What do you think?
That sounds like a good idea.
A tour of the show, or of the store. Now, you've probably done this a few times, but not on camera.
That's correct.
You've walked folks around. Bring that mic real close to your mouth there so we can hear you loud and clear. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, so Jay's going to jump on camera. You guys are going to love this. We're going to walk around Molly's Spirits. First of all, how long has this location been here?
Since November 22nd.
Okay, and this is your second location.
Yes, it is.
You have one in Lakewood?
Lakeside.
Lakeside, okay,
Yes,
right
sir.
on the lake there.
Yes, it is. Right
Nice.
to the back of it.
So November 22nd, not very long.
No,
It's
not very long at all.
Beautiful space. What is it, about 25,000 square feet?
Right on the money, yes,
Right
sir.
on the money.
Yeah.
I know my square footage. Jay, head out there with the camera, and we're going to take a walk around Molly's. But in particular, I really love you guys' emphasis on local.
That is definitely what we strive for. If it's here in the state, we try and hold it in hand.
That's fantastic. Around this first cooler here, we're going to be able to see your cooler full of local collaboration beers. And Jay's heading around the corner right now. Wait, look at this store. It's just palatial, you guys. Not much that you don't have, right?
Palatial, good term. I like that.
Well, and don't you like how they have it laid out? I love at the end of every aisle they have a local section. So you've got local vodka, local
Jay,
gin.
stop down there. You're going way too fast. Way too fast, Jay. Head on back the other way to where these collaboration beers are, and we want to just jump right back in to kind of the first couple of coolers there, and they're all numbered, right? You probably know them by number, right?
Not yet. We're so young down here, we don't have it nailed down yet, but we're working on it.
Just by number, and that's probably for picking, or you're doing a lot of curbside stuff too. Yeah, let's dial in here. What are we looking at here?
These are a lot of our singles. We do quite a few build-your-own singles, and all of our collabs are in there as well. We do some with Crooked Stave. 14er Brewery, we do quite a few out there. So all of them available, single and six-pack, however pack they are.
Nick, now are you in charge of bringing some of this in? Are you part of the purchasing team, or what's your role?
On the spirit side, yes. If it has to do with the spirits and liquor side, that is all me, yeah.
All right, tell us the secret. Do you like beer?
I do. I was a beer buyer for a long time.
Really?
Definitely craft-centric and local, for sure.
Do you have your favorites?
Yeah. I always have my favorites.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Let's start with local. What's your favorite local?
Probably New Image right now.
New Image.
Yeah, it has been for a long time. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Inside of these coolers here, as we're looking here, and again asking Jay to go slow because there's a lot of our friends in here. I see Spice Trade Brewing Companies. Beers in there. What else are we looking at?
There's a couple of our collabs that we do with New Image right there. Speaking of, then there's the 14er. A lot of beers from them, Telluride, Station 26, Yeah, anything local we love.
Am I off, Nick? Did New Image do a gluten-free beer? Is that no? It's Obsession or
Yeah, there was a separation that they did there. I don't think that was New Image that did it, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, great bunch of great. I'll tell you, your local stretches. I think I walked it, and it went down to like door number 9 or 10.
Yeah, it definitely takes up more space in our cooler than any other section we have.
Let's look here. When you see something cool that's unique that we want to say something about here, just tell Jay to grab it and pull it out. As we're going through here, some of the brands. So we're out of local right now. Are we in any local section?
This looks like just kind of a random section of different craft breweries that we have. Yeah.
Well, let me ask. I noticed you're starting to get some holes. Are the brewers out? Is it not being able to fill the supply anymore?
There's been a little bit of that. Yeah, we've run into that with a couple problems. A lot of supply and demand right now, for sure.
Yeah,
it's interesting as breweries are. Jay, you would yell at someone right now. Your finger's on the lens.
Thank you, Jay.
Oh, you're giving us a little bird through the.
Yeah, there was our
the reflection.
Colorado Rosé, which was a rosé cider collab that we did as well, was in that door, Jay.
As we're going through here, these are the stock. You can also pick your own 6-packs or whatever packs you'd like to, right?
Yeah, you can buy them singly, or you can build them 6-packs. You can purchase as many as you'd like.
That's fantastic. You guys have so much beer here. Wait till we get to the spirits, you guys. That'll really blow your mind. Okay, Jay, start walking over to the Colorado Spirits aisle. What stands out to you the most here at Molly's? I'm kind of a compare and contrast.
For us, the selection. We definitely strive to carry whatever we can, whatever we can get our hands on, whether that be from Colorado or internationally. We try and have it on the shelves and available.
Nick, let me ask, where do you see the industry going? You know, seltzer is already not new. Seltzer's old news now. What's new? What's the trend? Where are we going? Because I've got an opinion, and I'm curious where you're going to go with it.
I don't know where the trend's going. On the beer side of things, I haven't been too involved in it. I've been watching it from the outside and watching a lot of the hazy IPAs come up, and again, the seltzer game coming around, which definitely took a lot of people, I think, by surprise for sure.
I remember where my train of thought was that I was going to talk about is beer's jockeying for position now because the restaurant end of the supply chain is broken.
Yeah.
And we're seeing some brands, and we'll just take Bierstadt, for example, you don't normally see in a liquor store. What are some of the things that we may start seeing right now coming into liquor stores? A
lot more collaborations. I think a lot more single offering beers going to stores that we have started and pioneered a lot of. I see a lot of that happening for sure.
Nice.
That's fantastic. There's, if Bierstadt was in the liquor store, it'd probably go quick, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Any of that limited stuff. Outer Range is another one that as soon as it hits our shelves, it's out. Cerebral does a really good job as well. Those guys are in and out. As soon as it hits our dock, people know about it for sure.
Wow.
Have you ever gotten to try that Bierstadt Pilsner?
I have not, actually.
I'll tell you, that is hands down one of the best Pilsners I've ever had. I was so impressed by what they do. And they care so much that when they came on the show, they said, we're only going to let you drink it out of our Pilsner glasses. And I love that kind of authenticity.
Yeah, if you can stick to it and hold to it, that is what it's all about. And, here at Molly's, too, we have that forward thinking of we are going to be local and we're going to stay local and be as local as we can and have a stronghold on that. And we're sticking to our guns on that, too.
We're talking to Nick from Molly's Spirits as we're here today at Molly's. Ramping up, we've got a great show for you here. Brewers Association, Bob Pease, the president and CEO, joining us at 2:30. We're talking about the palatial Molly's, right?
Yep.
And as we're here tonight at 5:30, Molly's Liquid Lounge goes off from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. And if you haven't seen Molly's Liquid Lounge, I'm going to show you a clip of it here in just the next couple of minutes. But what a really cool show that Molly's has developed here. And you have so many friends in the business, so many people that you can collaborate with. And it's just endless, the relationships that you guys have.
Yeah, we actually, after our first show, we've been contacted by quite a few people now. Our friend network seems to grow real fast.
Get us in.
We've had quite a few people.
That was Negley last week at Boulder Spirits.
Yep.
So this is your jam right here.
Yeah. This is like I said, anything local. We are really, really drawn to, and there's some really, really good products coming out of Colorado as well.
What's some one-off stuff that we just have to see right now on the shelves?
Our Peach Street barrel strength single barrel that we did.
How far is Jay from the Peach Street?
Should be just to the left.
Just to the left,
yeah.
Jay. Past Rocker, there's Bear Creek.
We got a single barrel Laws right up there as well that we got in.
Oh yeah, stop on that single barrel Laws.
Yeah, and we'll do a lot more single barrels down here as well. Like I said, we're young in this store and just starting out. So
that's a great price for Laws right there. All your pricing is really, really good.
Thank you. Yeah, we try and offer fair pricing to everybody. And if we get it from our distributors, we pass that on along as well.
Michael Myers for 291's got some good positioning here.
Right at the end, I saw he's got a nice few slots in there.
There's Mythology. So, here's the question. Now we'll start getting into some cool, fun stuff. How do you determine shelf positioning with brands, and what do they do to jockey for that?
A lot of that is relationships. It goes back to that relationship, and we were really building on those and look for those relationships, and how they interact with our customers when they're here and interact with us as well.
That's awesome.
Now, that's the easy answer.
Yeah, it is.
That's the real politically easy answer. Where's the good spot? Where are the great spots in the liquor store? So end caps?
In caps, yeah, just for visibility. Everyone strives for that top shelf. They want to be on that top shelf, so right at eye level. Yes, sir.
And is it just that top shelf's always been the best of the best, whether you're at a bar or anywhere else?
Yeah, whether you are or not, as long as you're on that top shelf, you're considered top shelf.
So bottom shelf, are you trying to work your way up to the top shelf at that point, or?
That's really kind of a brand decision. A lot of times it's price. So your price evaluation, keeps you down there at that bottom shelf.
Yeah. Wait, explain that a little bit. When you're saying price evaluation, is that what the distiller is willing to pay for product placement?
No, the cheaper stuff. Just by
just by just by sales, or by what they want it priced at.
Yeah.
Interesting. So price point could potentially push you lower.
You would think something like, and we'll just go with some nationals, like Jack Daniels. You could put on the bottom shelf and they'll still find it, right?
Yes, you could, for sure. Jack Daniels would not be happy about that. They definitely think of themselves as not a bottom shelf whiskey.
Yeah, and see, that's what's weird is that from the liquor store's point of view, it's like, okay, they're going to find you no matter. You can put Jack Daniels in a corner somewhere in the dark.
In the broom closet, and people will still search it out.
Will find, what's that pickle stuff?
That is pickle vodka. That's a local guy who started making some pickle vodka. Instead of doing your pickle shots, he actually infuses the flavor of pickle in his vodka.
How's it taste? Have you had it?
Like pickles.
It doesn't like pickles.
Pretty good, yes, sir.
Now, let me ask, has the liquor business turned into like the grocery business? In the grocery business, someone's going to have to pay if they want to get up higher. Someone's going to have to actually put their money where their mouth is.
Probably relation. I'm interested in this conversation. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole you want to go, but
a lot of it comes down to legalities. And here in the state, we changed things a lot and made that so it wasn't. It used to be that way in this state, for sure. Yeah, pay to play almost for in caps and spacing. And now, no, it's a level playing field.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And actually, that's a good thing because, you go into these big retailers, and unfortunately, whoever has the most money is going to move the most product.
Yeah, and they took that all out of liquor and out of the liquor game the last couple of years with some of the law changes that they made.
Look at this high-end hooch. You guys must be really proud of this right here, right?
We are. It is a beautiful, beautiful case, and we've definitely filled it with some beautiful, beautiful bottles. Some really nice high-end tequila bottles, mezcals, definitely focusing on some scotch and some limited whiskeys as well.
But when you say high-end and I see $52... Wait, is there a disconnect there?
Yeah, just the nature of those bottles, just to showcase the beauty of those bottles, for sure.
I love it. I've actually had that tequila right there down in Mexico. Wait, here's a weird question, though, curveball. Kombucha. Both of us right here, we're a couple kombucha drinkers, and recently I've gotten into the hard kombucha.
The hard kombuchas, we do carry a couple of the hard kombuchas.
I noticed, and I like the ones you have, for sure. Where do you see that industry going?
Hopefully a lot bigger from what it is now. And there's been quite a few brands playing in that a little bit, but I think the market for kombucha is growing quite a bit, and along with that's going to come the harder kombuchas.
I've never seen this right here.
Oh, that Balvenie lineup.
Interesting. In my early days of Scotch, I was like, "Who's this Glen dude? What's Glen all about?" And then it's a region, right?
Yep, it's a region. Yeah, so basically any distillery in that region comes with the nomer of Glen.
Are there any other regions that are like that?
You basically have your Speysides and those separated out with your Islay whiskeys, and that's a definite regional designation for Scotch.
What's something that there's no way we've ever seen before?
I don't know if you've seen a Caviar infused vodka before.
No.
Is
that it right there?
Yes, it is. Or a white truffle infused vodka.
And is that Caviar on the bottom that I'm seeing?
No, it is just the decanter and how that is. But, all Grand Champagne grapes go to make in that vodka, and then they infuse it with natural caviar, and they infuse it with white truffle.
The packaging is just amazing.
Yeah, and absolutely glorious vodka, to be honest with you.
Is it now? Were those 750s or were those 1.5s?
750s. It just looks a little bit larger because of that decanter.
Because of the decanter.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Fortaleza, I can't throw away those bottles. They're so beautiful.
They are awesome.
Those hand-blown bottles of tequila.
Are.
And what some distillers are doing, they're putting so much effort and energy into their beautiful delivery vessels.
Yeah, and it's just to show off the art that goes into distilling what goes into those bottles. I think is more of what that is about.
Yeah.
As we're walking around Molly Spirits right now off of Arapahoe Road and I-25, and look, there's the Age Your Own kit right there. That always threw me off. I love Jay Johnson, but I'm just, it's like, is that novelty to you?
A little bit. We've sold some to customers that are looking for wedding gifts and stuff like that and want to make their own whiskey to give to their give to their friends, and so it's a great way to do that kind of thing and to re-age whiskey too. I've definitely had some customers, that add things to it and, cinnamon sticks and whatever and add to it and come out with flavored whiskeys.
Can you really, though? Does it really age longer? Does it make it better? So if I did that to someone who just got married and I said, open it on your 20th anniversary, are they going to have something?
It's sitting in wood and it's breathing and it's a living thing, so it's a gamble we're taking for
New
sure.
barrel,
wow,
right?
okay.
Okay, so we hear a lot about Colorado beer, Colorado spirits. Colorado wine, that's an interesting thing, right?
It is, yeah. It's an interesting thing. Not a whole lot of grapes growing here in the
Palisades
state.
got some. Grand Junction has some as well.
Yeah.
It's the left slopes, the western.
Well, and they're
Yes,
sweeter varieties, though, which is the challenge, I think, isn't it? They're more of your not Riesling, but what is the German? I guess it is. The Riesling is a German wine, more sweet wine.
It is a more sweet wine for sure. And I can't speak to what Colorado grapes bring, but I know that there isn't not very much of it.
Yeah, there is. So do you set aside a specific section here for Colorado wines?
Yeah, we definitely have a local section for wine, which contains a couple different brands from here in the state.
Trying to get the bearings of where I'm at here. It's just so big. Again, 25,000 palatial feet of square feet of just deliciousness that we're looking at here. The branding is very cool. As you can see, just a very clean, well set up store. When it comes to COVID, what are some of the changes that you guys have done internally for the store as far as what you need to do to make sure that your customer experience is nice, safe, and happy?
Internally, we've definitely marked out spaces at our checkout. We've supplied our cashiers with the glass guards, as well as deep cleaning all the time, gloves all the time. Definitely provided our staff with timing to clean and prepare themselves whenever they feel necessary as well.
There's that infinite monkey theorem.
And here's the Colorado wines that we're in right now. So, Ben Parsons does a great job with Infinite Monkey Theorem. Mm-hmm. Cans is really what he's been known for, but these bottles are beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we carry all the cans as well. I think all of his cans and the bottles.
What else do we have here? There's probably a few other Palisade wineries that we're familiar with here. What was the one that we visited just...
Red Fox? Or was it Red Fox or it was Red something?
Red something.
Yeah, we have the Two Rivers up there. A lot of the sweeter fruit wines, from that Palisade Valley that tend to do quite a bit of those.
All right, high-end wine. Wine always just boggles my mind, from a $15 bottle to a $150. I've always wanted to just be able to side by side and be like, oh, yeah, okay, I can tell that the total difference, that I know that's a much higher, but I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
I've had the opportunity to a couple times, and, you can tell the difference. Whether I'd know without it being side by side, I don't know that I'd be able to tell the difference either.
Yeah. So, what are some of the? You have a very reasonably priced wine section that we're looking through here, and throughout the store. Obviously, the variety is so big. But how high up do you get?
I know that we have one of the wines over there is a $1,400 bottle. So as far as
let's crack it open, man.
Yeah, right.
Let's see what happens.
We carry some big, 1.5s of grower champagne and things like that as well that get up there pretty high. So we definitely have in-house. We definitely have a selection.
It's endless. So how do you approach this? So you have so much stuff, and you're working in many, many different directions with invoices, and I mean, it probably is just maddening to, have that much working, many moving parts. But where do you go as far as making sure that you've got everything covered, researching? Do they come to you, or do you have to go out there and do some homework?
A little bit of both, to be honest with you. Yeah, there's a lot of homework involved, a lot of searching. A lot of companies do come to us, and, listening to our customers is probably the biggest thing. We have a lot of customers that will come in and ask for things that we've never heard of before, and that kind of starts us down the rabbit hole. If one person's willing to ask for it, guarantee there's more looking for it.
Yeah, and there's some big portfolio brands, right?
Yes, there is.
That go in within the brands. And so you kind of, when you work with a big portfolio, do you feel obligated to carry the whole span, or will you pick and choose from it what you want?
Pick and choose from what we want. Yeah, and we really try to cultivate, a really strong land of adult beverage here, and that's really what that cultivating is about, is searching out for us and listening to our customers.
Yeah, what's the cool stuff? Like what you're looking at data all the time right now. What is Seltzer what's hammering it right now?
Seltzer's doing awesome. Just vodka in general has done really well, and local has done really, really well.
That's cool.
Big spike in local.
It's interesting because during this pandemic, a lot of people have gone towards comfort foods. Mm-hmm. Is there such thing as comfort booze?
Yeah,
Would I think
brand-wise, there is. Brands, I think, are comforting. A lot of people find brands. It doesn't really have to do with a certain type. But, yeah, it's like, your Tito's is comforting. People know Tito's, and that's what they strive for. Same thing with the whiskeys. It's your Evan Williams.
But have darker spirits picked up at all since a month or so? Have you seen those data points yet? I think it'd be interesting.
I haven't seen them yet or looked at them comparatively.
I'm wondering if seltzer has dipped a little bit because that's kind of a poolside, and the weather's. I know the weather's warming up a bit now, but you're still not really as active.
It's still one of the top things we send out for delivery. Yeah.
I think, Greg, the only reason, in my opinion, is because it's low carb, low cal kind of thing that people, I think a lot of people are concerned about the amount of calories and stuff they're getting out of their beverages. Now, let me ask, on that same note, did you notice anyone coming in here and hoarding?
That one day. Right?
We sold quite a bit of Everclear and high-grain spirits, for sure. Yeah, people making their own hand sanitizer. That was the only thing that we sold, and a lot of tonic water.
And a lot of tonic water.
Yeah, really.
People mixing drinks. Speaking of mixed drinks, you've got a whole aisle available for
pre-made cocktail stuff and cocktail mixers. Yeah. If we turned around, Jay, there's definitely an entire aisle of all of our mixers, as well as local bitters like strong water, whole bitter section.
Is that Dram Apothecary? Do you guys carry Dram? Have you heard of that local one?
Yes, I have heard of that.
They, I'll tell you, bitters has come a long ways.
It sure has. Aromatics.
And that, I'm happy about something like that. I actually like the true bitters that is from, not, his name. Are you familiar at all with bitters?
A little bit, yes.
Okay, so your traditional like Campari's aperitif.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's a company named Contrado, I believe he did his own bitters, and he was a winemaker and went and made a natural bitters as opposed to something with the red dyes. I love it. I'll tell you, I'm a big fan of.
Hey, you got pickles?
Add them to the list. I'll search them out for you.
Okay, yeah.
Oh man. You just don't stop, do you?
Yeah, pickles, asparagus. The only thing I'm missing is some bacon. We can make some awesome Bloody Marys here.
Wow. As you see, it's your one-stop shop, right? I mean, truly, that's what you want to be here at Molly Spirits.
That is the idea, yes, sir.
Keep you here. What's next? I mean, where do you go from here? Yeah, it seems to me like you've climbed the mountain and you're sitting on top with the flag.
It's always changing, you know. Mm-hmm. You know that flag can always be taken down and moved around. So we are always looking for something new and to expand. I mean, as much as we have in store, there's always room for more. So definitely looking for anything else we can get our hands on.
We talked about it a little bit last week. I think you brought it up, Brian. A very ambitious place to set up right here with the amount of options in the general area.
Yeah, but you can always have more options, you know?
I like that.
And when sometimes you strive to be the best option there is out there, and I think that's what we're trying to do here.
Unbelievable. Bob Pease is coming up next from the Brewers Association. What would be one question you would want to ask?
What you just asked me, what's next?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's big changes coming up, I think, so I'd like to know what's going on and what's next for them.
I got a great statement about your options. Someone once told me, when I was younger, of course, but a man is only as good as the options that he has on the table.
Are you on the clock right now?
Yeah.
All right, this okay? You want to hang around, talk to Bob Pease with us?
I got
you got
ordering.
to go?
I got
options
waiting for me.
Time spent with you, man. It's like you're unsure. You just meet somebody and you're like, oh, well, how are they going to do? You did a great job, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Fantastic job.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Love to have you here. Nick, we're here with us. And all right, get back to work.
All right, thank you,
Nick.
Thanks for coming out.
That's
Nick.
so cool, and we got to take a tour of that. And as Jay Parker rejoins us here, that was fun. Take a look around Molly's. Again, Molly's Liquid Lounge will go off tonight at 5:30 p.m., 5:30 to 6:30 p.m.
And who is that with, Greg? Who's doing the Molly's?
Tonight is Tony Dorio is hosting Molly's Liquid Lounge. And what beer companies, Jay, are going to be on tonight? Do you know? It's probably right in front of me in my email.
Hold on a second.
Tonight at Molly's. Let me see. Oh, here's one for you. Not to go past tonight's broadcast, but next week in Molly's Liquid Lounge. You want to hear this lineup?
Let's hear it.
It's another spirits episode, and Al Laws and Todd Leopold will be here to talk spirits.
Ooh, that'll be a good conversation.
I mean, how do you not tune into
You've got your light and your dark, the best of the light and the dark.
It looks like he's waiting to get in our waiting room, and Jay's going to admit him. Bob Pease on deck, and Bob, I'm assuming he's been very, very busy. And while Jay's getting Bob going here, I want to bring up this little audio clip, and this is what concerned me. And Jay, if you can get my, I'm wondering where that's coming in from. That's Jay's phone. So I'm going to play this little video here real quick as we stand by for Bob Pease. Bring my compute up.
Could fold by the end of the month. Keep in mind, craft breweries are a place to socialize, not a place where there's social distancing.
We are in a very empty Ratio Beer Works.
In the heart of Rhino,
It's so bizarre on many levels.
is a broken business hoping to heal.
We were almost exclusively to restaurants and bars in this tap room, and that was 99% of our business, and that almost got shut down besides some of the to-go orders.
Jason Zumbranen is the co-founder and brewmaster at Ratio Beer Works, one of the most popular craft breweries on Larimer Street.
I mean, it's been surreal for this whole time.
Ratio is part of a network of 420 total breweries in Colorado. According to a survey conducted by the Brewers Association, projections show more than half in the state could close by summer. A sobering statistic for an industry that pumps $3 billion a year into our local economy.
Well, we had up to 30, 35 folks, and we're down to only about a core of 4 with a couple, 2 or 3 helpers here.
From the moment the pandemic made its way into Denver, Ratio has been pivoting and evolving to stay alive. Shifting to canning is the main focus now.
We have some engineering units that weren't being utilized that we've now taken to some friendly breweries. Odd 13 has been awesome about doing this.
Wild Goose Filling in Louisville is working with them and several other breweries to help with the canning conundrum.
And we're making our plans basically on we're not reopening. I mean, all hopes is, they'll slowly ease the restrictions, but our plans are, could we do this and not reopen for a long time?
Jason says that even once they are able to reopen, if that is possible, he sees this being a long struggle and a long road ahead. Reporting live at 5:30, I'm Kevin Torres, Fox 31.
Okay, there's that setup, and Fox 31 piece, thanks to them for that. But an alarming announcement that the Brewers Association announced that by summertime, 250 breweries could shut their doors here in Colorado out of a number of 420. That's 60%. And joining us right now, he's the president and CEO of the Brewers Association. He's been a busy, busy man. His name's Bob Pease, and welcome back to the Modern Eater Show.
Great to be back with you guys.
Good to see
you. How's everyone doing?
Well, Brian Freeman on my left, probably my right to, I don't know how it is, but Greg Hollenbach, Brian Freeman, Jay Parker here as well. Bob Pease. Okay, a lot's taken place since we've seen you in a couple of short weeks, Bob.
Sure has. It's been a whirlwind. Every day is, I know every day is a new adventure. I know for most of me and my team, most of us haven't had a day off since the middle of March. So it's crazy times.
Well, let's dig in just a little bit here. Okay, so since we've seen you last, there were no layoffs in the Brewers Association. We're doing what we could to support the breweries themselves, but some announcements have come down the pipe, and I'm assuming that's from the data points. Let's first start from the Brewers Association. Changes internally with you folks.
Yeah, we made, I made, at the end of the day, the buck stops with me. So I'm in conjunction with our executive committee, which is, a dedicated group of 4 brewery owners from around the country, made the painful, but I think necessary decision to reduce our staff. And we did that last Friday. So we're coming up on one week of delivering that news to 15 of our colleagues that we're going to have to let them go. So we let go 12 full-time staff and 3 part-time staff. Very, very difficult day for a lot of folks.
I can hear it in your voice.
Yeah. Yep. Not, it's what comes with the territory, but it doesn't make it any easier. And, I'd hired, some of those people and I'd worked with them in some cases, for more than a decade.
Is it fair to say that the situation with craft breweries right now is almost in a triage situation?
Yeah, I mean, it was listening to the folks from Ratio. Heart just goes out to them hearing that story. It's a story we're hearing, time and time again, played out all over Colorado and all over the country. I've got a few data points I can share with you and your listeners. Since the pandemic has really taken grip and basically forced the shutdown of basically the entire on-premise across the country. For craft brewers, since all this began, we're down 65% in sales on-site. And I think maybe some people might think, "Wow, I'm surprised that's not a bigger number." Well, it shows to how craft brewers have been pivoting, kind of like what the Ratio story was of doing beer to go. Tap rooms and brew pubs have pivoted to putting in small volume canning lines so they can continue to operate and get their beer to market. Here's a really bad numbers. Distributed draft sales. So that would be, beer that, Denver Beer Works or Ratio, puts into a keg and then gets, a distributor then delivers it to the on-premise retail. Those sales are down, and this is across the country, are down 95%. So basically draft sales have gone from, being 40% of craft brewers' volume to zero. And then, one of the silver linings would be that package sales for craft brewers around the country are up 10%. And so that's good news if you put your beer into bottles or cans, because people still, want to have a world-class beer when they come home at the end of the day, if they're still working. And, craft beer from small and independent breweries are an affordable luxury. For $10, you can get some of the best beer made on the planet. And so if you are a brewery that, has the capacity or the capability to put your beer into bottles or cans, you're seeing some sales there. So, but it's not enough to make nearly enough to make up for the losses that we're seeing on the draft side.
I got a question, Bob. Brian Freeman here.
Brian?
Some people at home, might be saying, if you're a brewery, why can't you just sell the rest of the beer that you have, shut the doors, and your really only loss is the rent? What would you say to somebody with that mindset?
To push the pause button.
Yeah, to push the pause button. Because what's really the only thing that's going to be the expense on a brewery is your rent, and then any of the stock that you have, right? For materials?
No. Most breweries are carrying some type of debt load to start with. I mean, if you go, besides, they've got some fixed costs that go beyond just rent. When you go into a brewery and you look at all that stainless steel, that's expensive, and it's not the norm for breweries just to pay outright for their brewing system. So that would be the first thing I would say. And then the other thing I would say is if you're an on-premise, brewery like a tap room or a brew pub, yes, in theory you could sell all the beer that you have in a to-go manner, but the scales that doesn't add up. You would have to be doing big business to sell all the beer that you're sitting on right now. So I think, I certainly have seen some restaurants try to around Boulder to do that model. The Mountain Sun folks, they shut their doors and decided it wasn't worth them continuing to try to chase, some sales on the to-go or the home delivery front. But that's a brewery that's been around for over a decade and, probably maybe a little bit more better capitalized than a lot of the breweries that we're talking about. Many breweries in Colorado and across the country are less than 2 years old, and typically, that brewery to not have any income for now. We're going on 8 weeks here now, and that is just difficult to overcome.
Mm-hmm. I can't help but keep going back to that figure of 60% of breweries shutting their doors, and I'm hoping the data is wrong. I'm hoping that what you're seeing, and let's talk about data for just a minute, because it's only as strong as the responses. Is there a possibility? Bob Pease here with us from the Brewers Association, President and CEO, and thank you for your time. Is there a possibility that folks would like to paint a darker picture, whether it be for funding or to show a despair that maybe isn't quite as there? That you see where I'm going with that?
For sure. Well, it's the data that we're working off of. Was collected in a two-part national survey. I think I'm very confident in saying that our chief economist, Dr. Bart Watson, is the gold standard for beer economists, and he takes the conclusions that everyone is citing in the survey. That he's just telling you what the data told him based on the responses that we got. Now, is there a predisposition by the survey respondents perhaps to paint a darker picture than might be reality? Of course, nobody really knows. But what I can say with some certainty is the longer this goes, the longer that the shutdown orders are in place, the more brewery closures we're going to see. And I think what's really of concern now, you guys, is when you hear about the phased openings and Governor Polis's safer at home order, which we have tremendous respect for, all of our public health officials, and that's the number one priority. But, the on-premise is not just going to go back to where it was on March 12th or March 13th, right? We're talking about, maybe 50% capacity restrictions. We're talking about, some strict social distancing measures, which are going to limit the number of patrons a brew pub or a tap room brewery or even a tasting room brewery at a production brewery can have on site. And so it's going to be stops and starts, and it's not. I don't know how many businesses could go through the summer and say if their revenues are only 50% of what they had budgeted for after being closed for, say, 8-9 weeks. Some of those folks are not going to make it to the other side.
Mm-hmm. I'm hearkening back to a Brewers Association off the website from Bart Watson, your economist, who, here it is again, data. And that data at that time on June 15, 2016, said that 80% of all overall beer volume should come from on-premise for survival of breweries, for craft breweries. Looking back, was that recommendation of being less diversified something that should have been adjusted?
No. I mean, I can certainly see why you would ask that question, but that recommendation was based on the reality of the marketplace of the time, where the distribution model was drying up. What we have seen in the last 8 years in the beer space in America has been a significant consolidation of beer distributors, now less than 1,000, probably less than 900, and a proliferation of small and independent craft breweries. So there just wasn't the capacity on the distribution side to get all of these breweries access to market. And then, with the additional breweries coming online, you had also had a proliferation of SKUs, stock keeping units.
Yes, sir.
So the retailer just couldn't keep up. So that was because prior to that, 8 years ago, the preferred business model for a small and independent brewery was the production model, which was you opened a brewery, you maybe had a small tasting room, but you put your beer in kegs, bottles, or cans. Partnered with in Colorado, you can self-distribute, or you partnered with a wonderful distributing partner like Elite Brands, who had some really great publicity today on some of the stuff they're doing.
Terry's great, by the way. She's an incredible woman. Yeah,
she's A-list for us for sure. And that was the way to go. And so that was just a kind of a reflection of how a reaction, a reflection to what the marketplace was kind of dictating at that time. So the distribution, system can only handle so many breweries, so many SKUs. There's only so much shelf space at off-premise retail, and there's only so many tap handles at on-premise retail.
Agreed. Can't help but also harken back to the political climate at that time. Was there legislation to pass through grocery stores to be able to carry beer as well? So there was a lot going on in 2016, and as we jump to 2020 right now, we're just basically in that. And when I look at the Brewers Association, I look at a lot of intelligent people there. If somebody's going to be able to, if there's a group that's going to be able to pull off saving some of these breweries, it's going to be the Brewers Association. So let's look at that. Let's look at relationships as we're here at what I call the Palatial Molly Spirit in Greenwood Village. They have an abundance of local beer products here. And also positioning new prospects of folks, and I'll just use Bierstadt as an example of bringing their beers into a bottle or can situation. Is there a call out or relationship model to call to the local liquor stores to be able to bolster the amount of local product that they have, or is the infrastructure just not set up for that right now, Bob?
Our work there is going to be we're going to focus more on the beer drinker, and really try to drive the beer drinker into their preferred off-premise beer location, and to really urge them to support small and independent breweries. And then in turn, the retailer will react to that. I mean, there's a reason that, so many places you go into now, if it's an on-premise location, has 20, 30, 40 taps. It's because that's what the retailer is responding to what the beer drinker is telling them they want.
Interesting.
And that's the same thing that you see at off-premise retail. There's a reason why, some people say, oh, it's so confusing. There's so many choices. Yeah, we kind of think that's bunk. The retailer knows what they're doing. Okay. Every inch of that store in the off-premise retail has high value for them, and they would not be stocking all of those products from those beers from small and independent breweries if it wasn't profitable for them. So it's kind of like a yin and a yang, right? So we try to educate and push the beer drinker through our work with like on craftbeer.com or American Craft Beer Week that's coming up to really drive the preference of the beer drinker to support small and independent local breweries.
So you're not looking for the gimme. You're looking for the ask from
you got to earn it, right? You got to earn it.
Well, but I go, Bob, into that. I'd like to stay on that just for a second because I think that there's something to be said about some education that some of the business owners that are in that space might need. I don't know that I wholeheartedly agree with the article that we were reading from 2016. As an entrepreneur, every investor, every bank, anyone that I ever talked to about money would look at my customer base and say, if you have one customer that is getting more than 10% of your business, you are overweight and you're not likely to get a loan from us. And so I would look at that in the brewer's side of it, because if, in a sense, they were overweight by putting all their eggs in the fact that the tap room and not necessarily being as diverse. Is there some truth to that? And could we educate these people better? And would that be a function that you guys would be doing at the Brewers Association?
We try to present all the different business models equally, and then support a brewery owner, a young man or woman, an entrepreneur starting a brewery. We just try to educate them on what the existing market conditions look like. I mean, it used to be 20 years ago that a brew pub was more of the preferred model because you didn't have to invest maybe quite as much on the physical infrastructure to build a production brewery. It cost a little bit more to do that than perhaps a brew pub. Then people started looking, and it's like, wow, I got to master two businesses, right? I got to be a brewer and I've got to be a restaurateur. So for some, my heart was only in being a brewer, not a restaurateur, or vice versa. So then what happened was then the preferred business model evolved into the production brewery, where you partnered with a distributor like Elite for, bottles, cans, or kegs, and got your beer to market in either on-premise or off-premise in a more traditional manner. And then, again, the marketplace kind of dictates the conditions, right? There was just no room starting really like 5 years ago, unless, always exceptions to the rule, but generally speaking, if you chase the distribution game, unless you had a world-class beer, you ended up languishing in that distributor's portfolio. And so that's why the taproom model evolved. And again, it was a reaction to the marketplace conditions. And then breweries quickly realized, well, I might not get the scale of, say, Denver Beer Company or Great Divide, what have you, but I can make a pretty good living selling, 80, 90, 100% of my beer right over the bar to my consumer. And so that's kind of how it went down. I see your point about it's better to be more diversified and have more revenue streams and different paths or different paths to access to market. But
was that an act of futility, really?
With
right?
beverage alcohol being so heavily regulated, there are some challenges that are unique to beverage alcohol that other consumer packaged good products don't have.
So I would have to bring up the amount of breweries or the saturation, especially in this market, that would dictate that model of more distribution just wouldn't be feasible, obviously. So, Grandma would always say, don't cry over spilt milk. The milk is spilled right now. So we're looking into the future. and looking into the future, and we look into, well, what are some of these solutions in the pivot? Where's the pivot point? Is it canning? Is it just closing the doors? Some people would say, well, before COVID, that there were too many breweries, and we just saw COVID brought the quickening. It's evening itself out. How do we work through that right now, Bob? And we're working through this as well with restaurants too. In the Denver area, folks have said that there were too many restaurants to begin with, and what we're seeing right now is just the evening out. Is that okay to excuse this on the evening or on the evening of things, or I don't want to put blame on anything, but were there too many breweries, and are we going to find the right amount of breweries after it's all said and done?
Well, I've certainly have heard the comparison of COVID-19 and its impact on small and independent breweries as kind of a wildfire, and that it might thin out some of the forest. But again, there's 8,000 breweries in this country right now, a little bit more than that, but we only have 14% of the market by volume and 25% of the market by 25% of the market by dollars. Mm-hmm. There's plenty of cities and states, where that market share is higher. So I think small and independent craft breweries can get to a higher market share. I don't necessarily subscribe to the theory that there's brewery saturation. I mean, there's over 10,000 wineries in this country. I don't hear that refrain that often, that there's too many wineries. What I think is going to come out of this, which I'm hopeful to come out of this as an impact of the pandemic, is not to see thousands of breweries close, but perhaps an evolution of how beer is regulated and how beer actually gets to market. And I think that would potentially be something that the Brewers Association is going to be involved in.
You knew my question, because that's just what I was going to ask you. Is now the time to strike on easing regulation? Because what these numbers that he said, $3 billion, and if we lose 60% of that, that means $1.8 billion goes out the door in revenue. And if that's just in Colorado, that is a staggering number. Is now the time to strike for ease of legislation or ease of regulation?
I'm not sure.
He's like, I'm figuring these things out right now.
Our purpose at the Brewers Association is to promote and protect American craft brewers, their beers, and the community of brewing enthusiasts. And, we're doing that every day. We're going to continue to do it. And a big part of that is our effort on government affairs, both at the federal and state level. Easing restrictions, easing regulations, making it easier for small and independent breweries to get their beers into the hands of the beer drinker is going to be of a paramount importance to us. If the beer drinker can't go to the brewery because there's restrictions on social distancing or capacity issues, then we have got to find a way to help brewers get their beer to the beer drinker. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And, we've seen a lot of innovation. We've seen a lot of creativity over the last 7 to 8 weeks with, beer to go, beer delivery. Why can't brewers, for example, ship beer, from their brewery right to a residence, similar to like that wine can do? Now, it might not be the most obtainable economic model because beer is heavy to ship and the profit might not be there, but there are privileges or rights that wines have, that the wine industry has in this country, that we think the beer industry should have as well.
Absolutely. Bob, and make no mistake, Bob, I really don't like these conversations. It's heartbreaking. These are our friends. These are our family within the brewing community, and I just see it in your face, distraught, and I feel the same way. But folks want to know I'd much rather be talking about, okay, let's get ramp up for some of these great beer festivals, and all of those are put on the back seat. Great American Beer Festival.
Yes.
Where are you going with it?
But now, as of today, the beer festival is still scheduled to take place. I'm going to get the dates right this time. September 24th through the 26th.
I'm happy to hear that.
Colorado Convention Center. Now, clearly, the immediate and potentially long-term future for large events in this country is uncertain at best, right? I mean, right before we came on the air, I just read the Little League World Series canceled for the first time in its history. So we will, we're working closely with the Denver Convention and Visitors Bureau, and, they're taking their lead from Mayor Hancock's office and also Governor Polis's office. Mm-hmm. There is, a very, very real possibility that the decision about whether to have the festival component of the beer festival will be made for us. That the convention center has kept as an auxiliary healthcare facility through the fall, then the decision about having a festival element of the GABF will be made for us. If that happens, we still do intend to proceed with what we call the competition element of the Great American Beer Festival, where we would assemble the needed judges to judge the beers that are entered, and still have a competition in 2020. So, for us, when we look at the Great American Beer Festival, we look at two components: the festival portion, which is where the public gets to come and experience the great, excitement, passion of the American, it's the pinnacle of beer culture in this country, right? The Great American Beer Festival. But if we can't do that safely, then we won't. But then we would pivot and do just the competition only, and we have a higher degree of control there to ensure that, everything that we did there was done in a very safe manner for the judges and our staff. So that's kind of where we're at right now. It changes by the day, as you can imagine. So
we're here with you, Bob.
We'd like to be able to make a decision right now, but right now I think we're looking kind of as towards August. As August 1 is our latest drop dead date, go no go date. And again, we won't do anything. If we can't do it safely, then we won't.
As time is seemingly standing still right now,
True.
It's a tough one, and we're here. Little consolation, the Modern Eater. We're here with you, and thanks for disseminating your message. And I think, as I'll give you the last word. My last word to you is: local is everywhere. We're advocates of local. Now more than ever is the time where you support the brewery that you love so much. Any way you possibly can. The cry out is now. Support local. Support your favorite local brewery. Go ahead, Bob. Give us the last word.
Well, the last thing I would say to your listeners would be, we've got a couple of things coming up in our world that tie right into that, that ethos, that philosophy of supporting small and not just small and independent breweries, but small and independent business across the board. But coming up is Big Brew, which is our on May 2nd, which is our celebration of home brewing across the country, and it's a great way to do some safe social distancing activity, and then really for your listeners, May 11th to May 17th is American Craft Beer Week, and man, that is the time where they can if you want to do something special, that would be the week to really go out of your way to support the small and independent craft breweries, not only in the Centennial State, but, across the country.
Can we get you back on Monday, May 11th?
Of course.
That's what we want to do.
You guys.
I love talking to you, too. Thank you. And these are the organizations, the conversations that are great or the conversations that are tough. Whatever it is, he always shows up. Bob Pease, thank you so much, sir.
Thanks, Bob.
My pleasure, you guys. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Absolutely. Support local and support those craft breweries that you love so much.
Always.
Pease. Thank you. Brewers Association President and CEO Bob Pease. Speaking of breweries, 3 p.m. we're standing by for Charlie Gottenkieny from Bruz Beers, one of our favorite local craft breweries. And gosh, you got to think about it. They opened that satellite room, Bruz Beers, on Colfax in York.
Yeah, right before this happened.
A cup of coffee they were in there. Just beautiful. I mean, that place should be lively right now. They have a back patio, just like so many other breweries that are they're the patios are. So I'm hoping. Here's what I'm hoping is that when we can get back in half capacity, any capacity, that you'll go out and you'll sit on a patio, even if it's for a beer.
Totally. Well, but I gotta say, this is the time people innovate.
Catherine Keeley on the stream. Hi.
I know all these entrepreneurs out there, and we've had so many of them on the show, and these are great men and women that have the ability to work through this. Mm-hmm. And so, my shout out for everybody is just stay with it. Don't give up. Man, do what it takes.
How discouraging it's hearing 250 of our favorite breweries here in Colorado would close their doors. And did you just see Bob Pease and how distraught he was?
Yeah. Well, it's sad, but remember when we were at El Posto this weekend for the show, and that was like the first restaurant we've done a show at in 2 months. Mm-hmm. It felt really good to get out there, but it was interesting to watch that someone like Andrea is canning his drinks,
his cocktails,
and they were good. And that's my point is hey, how can everybody do this? How can we have drive up liquor stores now? How can we have
Speaking of that, I'm waiting for Sonia Riggs from the Colorado Restaurant Association to give us a text for will there be an extension for curbside booze or not?
Oh,
because it's set to expire today.
Hey, on a totally different topic, you want to hear something awesome?
Sure.
My barber called today.
Yeah?
He said he's scheduling appointments.
You feel confident to go in?
Oh, heck yes.
Okay.
4:30 a.m. on Tuesday the 12th. I will be getting a haircut. And I should I drag you down with me, Greg?
I have somebody cuts my hair, so no.
I know, but can she?
I'm hoping. Soon. I'll wait it out. Jay's probably working on getting Charlie Gottenkieny.
Yeah, he's there. He's just not there. So I'm texting.
I see
with
stuff
him.
going on there. Charlie
he's in the room. He's just
trying to get his video,
trying to get his camera going and his audio going.
Says that it's there.
Yeah,
interesting. Okay, Charlie Gottenkieny coming up, and wait until you hear these beautiful dulcet tones of Charlie Gottenkieny. Here's what we're gonna do. Charlie's gonna do a live commercial read for us for Bruz Beers of what they're up to now. Belgium Beer Festival is not taking place, but Belgian beer classes will be taking place online. And I don't think I know.
And I love that, Greg. That's innovation, right? You couldn't have somebody down to your restaurant or brewery. So guess what? We're going to do a beer class or a beer clinic online. Yeah. I love it.
Talking about that, I want to direct your attention to Molly's Spirits and Molly's Liquid Lounge tonight at 5:30 p.m. It will step off sharply, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. Molly's Liquid Lounge. It's episode number 2. Did Charlie connect with you once today already?
No, he didn't. But that's I didn't. No. The short answer is no.
Do we have his voice?
We don't have anything from him. Let me give him a call.
Yeah, give him a call. I can get up here the last edition of Molly's Liquid Lounge. And the way you tune into that is go to Molly's Facebook page. Molly's Liquid Lounge here it is, number 2. If you go put Molly's in there, you can see Molly's Spirits. But last week, and it was so cool. They had a spirits one. And Bear Creek's Jay Johnson and Ryan Nagley from Boulder Spirits. They were here. But check this out. We're going to play you as we get Charlie Gottenkieny up. We got a full show for you today, so we got to move quick. But here's this. Give me the audio on my computer.
Today we're just going to speak a little bit about our whiskey, or your whiskey, I should say. I get the opportunity to sell it at Molly's on a daily basis and sample it on a little regular
right into
basis
some of the
as well.
Good guts of this thing right here. Making cocktails, talking whiskey, look at Nagley.
Interacts with oak
good
differently
show.
than the way unroasted barley does and all that kind of fun stuff. And then you've got the folks that take a whiskey recipe, which is 100% malted, distiller's malt malted barley, and both are cooked on the same way. Typically it's on a pot still. But regardless, all of us are aging in a virgin American oak. And so for us to kind of go that path of making whiskey from a whiskey recipe and aging it in an American fashion, or in a fashion of applying a virgin American oak to such a more of a clean, bright, round spirit, that's less reliant on those roasted malt flavors and more reliant on the aging aspect of it. And for us, that's what it's all about is utilizing Colorado for its great
I want to show you when Jay Johnson
whiskey.
was making a
Do
cocktail.
you see the
that day though?
right? No, of course not.
With all the focus going towards delivery, is Colorado still something that people are buying? And
Look at this.
Is it? And now that we've kind of gone past that initial kind of commodity phase, we'll
Sure.
call it of the pandemic, and now that people are kind of have somewhat of a purchasing power back to their grasp, or is it we don't sell cheap whiskey.
Right.
All of our stuff
For
is,
sure.
$50, $60, $70.
Right.
So it's, excuse me, this Boulder bourbon right here is on special, I believe at $35.99 on the shelf
great.
wherever it is. $35.99. Get it delivered.
I would say that a lot of people are really dabbling in a lot of different things right now. Really obscure liqueurs to mix in with these cocktails. Campari, for example, I'm buying 5 times what I would normally doing just because.
Negroni.
Yeah, people are going nuts.
That's a spring cocktail, right?
I cannot keep vermouth on the
It's
shelf.
a morning cocktail.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. It was like a little social experiment on our. side.
Jay, you guys have been absolutely crushing it on your cocktails to go.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Keegan from Stranahan's, and he said their cocktail to go they did last weekend was just,
Busiest day ever
yeah,
out of their cocktail lounge?
I am absolutely blown away and amazed, one, at the support that obviously people are giving small business. So that's the first major thank you that any one of us want to express to. Man, y'all like buying pre-made cocktails. It is amazing. Touche.
It's like it's a tether to reality, right?
Right.
You're like, oh, it's Friday night. This Friday night, we should be having, whatever cocktail, that your favorite joint makes, right?
Yeah, let's pretend we're doing whatever.
Yeah, my wife has had happy hours with her friends.
Oh yeah,
via whatever social media, Skype or whatever. They literally set aside a time where they are all hanging out at home.
Are they drinking the same thing?
No, I'm working on that. I'm thinking about pre-mixing some stuff and delivering it to them so they can all have some fun and feel like it's a little more normal.
All right, let's jump
Jay,
back into the show.
Over here,
That is Molly's Liquid Lounge right there, and tonight.
Charlie. So, no, you know what? We're going to have to go past Charlie.
Ah, that's a darn shame.
I see Charlie drinking right there.
We love you, Charlie. Look at him.
Yeah.
Charlie's looking good.
No.
No Charlie audio.
No, it's not going to work. I'm gonna try to get Zach and Rick in a little bit early. They're standing by.
Charlie, we'll hit you tomorrow, buddy. I'm so sorry. I apologize. We'll test this out with you.
We do love you, Charlie.
I know. He's like, what's up?
I can't hear
Can
you.
he
You
see us?
can't hear me.
I know.
Or we can shoot Larry in if you want. Larry's here. But right now, I'm waiting
where
on
is Larry?
Zach. Hey, Larry, you want to come over here?
Come on over, Larry. We're curious about lunch today.
I'm trying to find it. Come sit over here with me. Yeah, the good side. The good side. All right, tell me where I need to go, Larry, to find this. Where do I want to go? Put your headset on. I feel like the world is melting down around me right now. That's the usual thing, though, isn't it, Larry?
Yeah, you guys heard cats here.
Oh man, you can't get prepared too much. So Denver now, and oh God, just kill me.
Just go to videos and left or posts or.
But so tell me, let's start the lead in right now, Larry. Where were you? Where were you today?
I'm always in the same place. I'm always in my office.
Hey, for Larry's lunch, it's always in your office.
What's for lunch?
What's for lunch?
What's for lunch. There's no Larry on it.
We just love you, man.
I try not to. My face is enough already over all my stuff, so I try not to put my name on it. I'm trying to build up my company and not me. OCN.
OCN.
Not Ocean.
Denver
OCN
now.
Stands for Arc.
Here we go. You ready?
Look at all that modern eater stuff.
I love that. All right, here we go. Denver now. The Great Greek.
That burger's so good. But keep going.
Keep rolling. Boy, you got
hey, there I am. Look at them. I got a new logo, too.
I saw that.
Isn't that nice?
I actually really like that, Larry. All right, so here's Larry on What's for Lunch.
Oh, welcome to a Thursday edition
Where
of
are
What's
you?
for Lunch. I'm your host, Larry Herz. Today, I am so fired up. I have one of my favorite restaurants from my neighborhood, Lone Tree, in studio. I have Deanna here with Brinkerhoff Hospitality. They also own La Loma, the legendary restaurant. Thank you so much. I want to cheers you, and thanks for bringing me. I love when they bring me a cocktail, too. That is a really nice way to start this episode. I was just there, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. Well, no, it's got to be more than that. Because I was sitting at the bar. I was sitting at the bar, and I had a margarita just recently, and I love the chili rellenos. Welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Give us a little history of Brinkerhoff Hospitality and your restaurants.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brinkerhoff Hospitality, La Loma specifically, goes back almost 4 decades now. In 1976, La Loma was located where Sassafras currently is in the Highlands. Yeah. They moved shortly after in 1981 to the former location, which unfortunately is no longer there. But they were there for, I want to say, 33 years. And then
Whose
we
kitchen
moved
is this?
to downtown Denver.
That's the office.
That's the office? That's the kitchenette.
So,
That's cool.
No, the original.
Yeah, so much better than
the
that dark
original owners
room.
are the Mendozas. But in '81, when they relocated, due to liquor, they wanted a liquor license. That's when the Brinkerhoff family really took over.
Okay.
So really, since the '80s, they've been the sole owners of La Loma. And then a few years ago, we moved downtown. We're right across from the Brown Palace.
Sure.
It's been a really great location for us.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how La Loma started.
And then there's plans for another one someday.
Yes, someday. We're hoping for the end of the year.
Okay.
La Loma in Castle Rock is currently still under construction. We're pushing hard on that project right now. I'm just really hoping to get open in the fall, ideally.
And then the crown jewel, to me, of all restaurants in Colorado, if you haven't seen or been to Sierra, it's the nicest facility we have. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, the architecture is
Look at that
stunning.
food.
They did it right.
I mean, how did they they brought this in and
in to-go containers, and they brought plates, and they plated it just like it looks at the restaurant. Which now everybody has to do it that way. Everybody's got to step up their game when they come on.
The rellenos, are those deep fried or is that pan fried?
Deep fried.
Deep fried
American
relleno.
classics.
They're like almost like egg rolls.
An array of items, and people.
But that much better because it's green chili.
The green chili. You do have a little touch of La Loma in there, right?
And that's because we've got a touch of La Loma, which is going to be like the southwestern.
I don't know why our camera's
and then we
not
also
working.
have
Can you hear
family
me, Zach?
recipes from the Brinkerhoffs, like Sonny's West Texas spaghetti. We've got the ribs, and then a really good one is the Louisiana Killer Shrimp. So it's really about having
Check your-
American classics.
your camera stuff
that
along the
there's
bottom.
something for
All right,
everybody
there's
without
that.
having a 4-page menu.
Larry.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little context of this show here.
Sure.
So as you and I, we're just trying to do what we can to help. And so I came up with this idea, What's for Lunch podcast. And the question people might have is, how do I decide who's on there? Reasonable question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who asks can come on. It's free. There's no cost.
Well, they got to bring you lunch.
Well, yes, I think that's reasonable.
I do too.
I think
Nothing for free, right, Larry?
Yes, I'm not paying for lunch, no. But it's up to them. All I tell them is bring lunch for me. If they want to bring extra for my coworkers, that's up to them. If they want to bring cocktails, again, that's up to them. Of course, I'm always happy when they bring margaritas and the fancy margarita glasses.
Did you drink the whole margarita?
Oh, God, yeah. The CEO of my company, though, when he was walking by right after we were done, and he grabbed that whole plate of ribs and took it to his office. I didn't get one rib.
You didn't get a rib?
Not one rib.
So you don't even know.
No, I've had their ribs before. I mean, I love Sierra. I could walk there. Have you been there?
I haven't.
Have you seen the building?
No.
No. Yeah, tell us more. Because it seems like more than just Mexican food.
No, it's not Mexican food
at all.
It does. It's a lot more than Mexican food.
No,
it's not Mexican.
That's
food.
rotisserie chicken. That's a wood-fired artichoke. Yes, you have the chili relleno appetizer. They're more like I don't want to call them J. Alexander's, but that type of menu. Modern American. Well, I wouldn't even call it modern. It's American food. Steaks. They definitely do a lot of steaks. But this is they bought the land, built this building from the ground up.
Where is it?
It's up on the hill at Ridgegate.
Okay.
You can buy Cabela's. I bet this is a 8,000 square foot building.
Holy cow.
It looks like a teepee. Floor to ceiling windows, the whole place. The largest patio maybe in the metro area. Of course, this kind of pandemic is really bad for a restaurant that, relies on the dining experience in their facility. That's kind of what makes them so good. It's just breathtaking. It's the nicest building we have, the nicest restaurant, physical plant we have in the metro area.
And that's I-25 in Lincoln, right? Or
yeah.
roughly?
I mean, you want to talk about dropping some money. This place, you'll walk in, or even drive by it, and you'll be like, holy what the heck? And the views, I mean, you just could see forever.
Openings and closings.
Openings and closings. I might have a few of those.
Do you? Oh, man.
Well,
Please don't break my heart.
No, mainly, no, openings.
heartbreakers?
Really, so now everybody's got their PPP money, right? So they have to open. And now how long are they going to stay open for? Till the PPP money runs out?
Sure. 8 weeks is what what the big number is,
terrifying.
Right? That you got to, it takes you have to use it for 8 weeks, I think, or you have 8 weeks to spend it, right?
Yeah, if not, then you have to pay it back with interest. Otherwise, you never have to pay it back, no interest.
Mm-hmm.
So people are finding ways to put their workers back to work, whether they're delivery drivers or sanding their floors or painting or whatever it is they can find for them to do. Some of the big openings, you probably
reopenings.
Reopenings,
Okay.
sorry. Tavernetta's reopening.
No doubt. All right. Bobby Stuckey's going back to work.
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to do a lot of wine to go. They got to.
They've got some kind of deal, like dinner for two, including a bottle of wine, somewhere around like $130.
It's heartbreaking to see that.
Sold out.
Yeah, sold out?
Sold out.
Oh,
They sold
man.
like 200 of them and sold out. Then Wolf Sailor, we talked about
that yesterday, yeah.
Thai Pot Cafe, which is phenomenal. That place was a gold mine. I was shocked that they shut down. Yeah. They're reopening in, I think, now one day. So, yeah, tomorrow they're reopening. That's right across from Viale on Colorado and Arkansas. Viale is also a great restaurant. Pizza Republica reopened. The 20 Mile reopened yesterday, Tap House. So I was there for lunch after my What's for Lunch.
I saw you were at D-Bar this morning.
No, I've never been to D-Bar in my life.
Really? Who was there? You put something there.
I posted.
You posted.
I mean, I'm going to post for I know what's up.
Well, Larry, when you say they opened to go,
Reopened.
right?
Just everything. When I say reopen, yes, nobody has opened their dining room yet that I know of. Nobody knows the rules yet. We're all still waiting to hear.
I know.
So
anything closed?
No, nobody's going to close right now. No closing. So that's good. Let me think.
Juan Padro.
Oh yes, Scratch Burrito.
Scratch Burrito.
Yeah, they
Where's
closed
that?
after 7 years in the Highlands.
Oh man, hate to hear that, especially after 7 years. Hopefully, they come back in some different form.
They didn't sound like they were.
Didn't sound like it.
No.
Unbelievable.
Ocean. Well, it's not a local, but Ocean Prime's reopening May 5th.
I like Ocean Prime.
Okay, good. I mean, I do too. I think they do a great job. But if you want to be on What's for Lunch, DM me through Ocean Eats Instagram, any
They
restaurant.
have to come to you. You never go to them.
I have not gone to really anybody. No, I don't ask people to be on this.
Would you be open to it?
What do you mean?
Go to them.
Oh, go to their restaurant.
Yeah. For lunch.
No.
Well, no, not right
You
now.
want the
Well, I've
studio.
seen you do it at people's places on
Sure.
Broadway.
As soon as we can go to restaurants again,
Yeah.
I will have. It's funny. We talked about that today. That when dining rooms reopen, we want to do What's for Lunch at the people's restaurants in their dining room.
I like the logo.
You can steal it. You want to steal it?
No,
From
but I
Modern
like
Eater?
it. I like it a lot. I just wouldn't want to pigeonhole into the Modern Eater. I'll show you, but back in the day, it was like ear sets on top of kind of like a podcast form, but we knew more video was going to come. But you got the microphone.
They're making it's hard to believe that. I don't think this is going to fly. Making OCN Eats merchandise to sell.
Like a hat or something?
Hats, shirts.
Yeah. It looks very network-like. Like CBS or something.
That's what I was going to say.
They're going to make me into a cartoon.
That's a brilliant idea.
With like all different arms, and this hand will have pizza, hamburger, tacos, all these different arms, and then me on the shirt, and then it'll say "Let's eat."
Let's eat.
I mean, I'd buy one, I guess, but I don't know who else would want a cartoon of me on
Dude, I'm
to wear around.
For sure.
I'll have to be giving those out, I'm sure, a lot more than I'll be selling them.
You want to stick around with us and co-host the rest of the show?
It's up to you. It's your show.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
I'm not going to say no.
Okay, we're going to a farm right now. We're going to Lamar, Colorado.
Never been.
Never been.
Don't even know where it is.
And Zach Kreider joins us on the Modern Eater Show. Zach, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Oh, we're good. Good.
We're good to see you.
Running around a liquor store right now. You know this other guy with us? This is Larry Herz.
I don't.
Zach
Kreider.
Kreider.
I don't know if we've ever met. Nice to meet you, Larry.
What's your business?
Colorado Mills Sunflower Products out of Lamar, Colorado.
Very nice.
The best sunflower products out of our local Colorado.
I think we're standing by for a couple of folks right now. Going to join us is Rick Robbins and Kevin Swanson. But Colorado Mills Sunflower Products, I can't think of anybody better. Zach, take a minute or so and talk about Colorado Mills Sunflower Products and what you do.
Yeah, so we're the only local producer in Colorado producing any type of oil. There's a lot of oil in Colorado, but we're the only one actually producing it and truly farm to table. We contract with farmers in the southeast Colorado. We support about 120 farms, family farms, to grow the crop for us. We crush that crop to extract the oil out in natural extraction. And then we refine it for culinary applications, snack food manufacturers. But we take that meal, that leftover product, and being a zero waste company, we turn it into livestock feed. So we support 600 ranches with our livestock feed products. Countless culinarians across Colorado, across the nation. We even do some exporting. And I guarantee you, somewhere, someplace, you've had our product, but you didn't know you were eating it. So,
what do you like? What do you like the best about it? The sunflower oil.
Besides the story, you can't beat the story. Family owned, 20 years in business, supporting local, and the amount of people, just the operation supports. We've done a rough calculation. Just because of what we are doing, not necessarily the end users. We're supporting over 3,500 people with our business.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say a couple of my favorite things is that it doesn't mess up the taste of your food. It keeps the food tasting the way it is, and it's
makes
got a
it neutral,
high burn rate as well.
That's what I want to know, the burn rate.
Yeah. What is it, about 500 degrees?
Well, it's 450, right?
450?
490. We say greater than 450.
I win.
But I will tell you that I've had it. I'll tell you, your sunflower oil, Zach, has never burned any of my pans. That's one of the things that I'm most always excited about, is because my girlfriend loves cooking at a high temp. And, if you're using anything cheap oils like canola or other stuff like that, it burns your pans. Mm-hmm. And then yesterday, Zach, I'll give you a shout out. I was doing a tasting of sardines out of Spain, and they actually were in sunflower oil. They didn't know if it was Colorado Mills. I got to believe you're the main guy. And so it was really cool because it was a white anchovy, and it was truly one of the best anchovies I've ever had. And they talked because they care, and always, they said anchovies should never be warm on a shelf. They should always be refrigerated, even in tins. Didn't know that. And their whole line is refrigerated, and they had white and regular anchovies and in sunflower oil. I was so stoked.
That is cool.
Well, and that's, do you want a greasy oil that, you're buying anchovies so you can taste an anchovy. You're not buying it so you taste oil. Why put that in olive oil? You're just going to taste olive oil. You're going to be greasy. Your mouth is going to taste weird, have a weird coating to it because of the olive oil. Or something, a high quality product, why put it in an inferior oil?
I got to guess that, Larry, you're an olive oil guy.
I am an olive oil guy.
I've
I've never played with that kind of oil ever
have.
in my life. Never, as far as I know, I've never tasted it. I don't. Where would you buy a product like this?
Food service.
So our bottles, our retail line is very small for what we do. But you can pick up bottles at Whole Foods in Colorado. But we primarily package for food service and manufacturers. We go all the way up to semi-tankers and railroad cars.
Wow.
Oil. We're actually the country's largest expeller pressing facility, natural extraction for sunflower oil. So,
but as a restaurateur, an Italian restaurant to start out with, you wouldn't think of anything else but olive oil, right?
Yeah, I'm curious, cost-wise,
Do we have
how does it compare?
We should have brought a bottle. We'll bring you one.
So we're in the middle. We're better priced than olive oil, but we're going to be a little pricier than a soy or a canola. But health benefits, it's the healthiest of all oils. I'll agree that olive oil is one of the healthiest oils, but this has half the saturated fat and 10 to 15% more monounsaturates, which are your hard, healthy fats. So very similar to olive oil, just with an actual healthier profile, plus a few more cooking characteristics. I love olive oil for a dressing. If you're going for that flavor, or a drizzle on a pizza. For me, I don't want my cookies to taste like olive oil.
That's true.
When you shouldn't be getting olive oil too hot, right? Larry, you know about that, right? You shouldn't get it over 115, I think, is what olive oil. Yeah. It's a real, low smoke.
And it'll smoke you right out of your place, too. And terrible smell, as with just noxious fumes, right? Comes from burning that at a high temperature, the olive oil.
Don't know, never burned it.
Never have.
But what Larry would love, Greg, is the fact of the absorption rate, because that was always a big thing for me with your oil, Zach, is the absorption rate is only 20%, versus if you look at things like the canola or the imitation vegetable oils or the man-made synthetics that they're putting in some of these deep fryers, they have what, Zach, is it up to 40% absorption rate on some of those?
Yeah, it varies based off of the oil, and deep frying is super complicated. I'd put it up there with rocket science, trying to understand deep frying, on a chemical and an absorption level. It's all based off of what the restaurant's doing. But testimonials of chefs in the deep frying world, and we see it as a dressing oil, a baking oil, but for frying, Chef
Cheeto.
Christopher Moore the other day shot me a testimonial. He was changing his oil every 4 days. Our oil, he took to 10.
Wow.
So
that's a big deal. I mean, that'll take price right out of the conversation.
Right, exactly. Now, we're going to be more expensive, but now you're actually saving money, in the long run. So
at that rate, frying, bar none. Hey, are you the only guy that here's a secret, on your team that knows how to work Zoom?
I think the wind's blowing too hard in Southeast Colorado.
Well, let's jump in. So I've got a couple of things that we want to go through here, and first of all, let's start out with some COVID topics. Colorado Mills, have you been running? Have you not? Some of the manufacturers have had to slow, but how's Colorado Mills been?
We jumped on it right away, and we have a super strict food safety program anyways. We're SQF level 2 certified, which is about the highest you can get. Any big manufacturer in the United States, we're all kind of at that SQF level. That's very strict to begin with. But when COVID hit, we immediately shut down customer interaction, the walk-in interaction for oil customers coming through our door, or truck drivers, or feed customers. We have an office that has a lot of foot traffic, being rural and being a feed supplier for animals. So we immediately shut that off and basically put up signs everywhere saying, please stay in your car, give us a call. We'll run credit cards over the phone, and that was to keep our people safe, because we're in a position where we can't necessarily shut down if our facilities, if people did get sick.
And I don't think Trump would keep you open like a Tyson plant. I just have a feeling you would probably be shut down in that.
We're a drop in the bucket compared to some of these big oil companies.
Yeah.
So I agree. So, but our we have 50 employees, And every day when they clock in, they have to take their temperature. If there's even a slight fever, they get sent home. But no, not docking them any. They don't have to use sick leave or anything like that. So still being very employee-minded and taking care of our people to make sure they're safe. And we recommend that for their families to try and limit their interactions so they can still come to work with, their friends and their groups of people. They're not doing a lot of traveling. We're not enforcing that by any means, but we're recommending so we can keep our business going. And what makes our business great is our employees, and they understand it and they want to come to work. So limiting foot traffic, truck drivers, customer interaction. But we've been up and running the whole time. We haven't actually slowed down at all.
So full production, fantastic.
Animals are still eating. The cattle are still eating, so we still have to produce livestock feed, which means we're still producing oil.
Yeah, and say it again. What percentage of your business is oil, and what percentage of your business is feed?
1/3 of the business is oil, and 2/3 is feed.
You should see this facility.
Yeah, I don't understand.
We're on track.
Yeah, so for someone like Larry, describe the facility and really what that looks like. The oil is actually a byproduct of their feed. It's amazing. Talk about it.
So we bring in semi-loads of sunflowers. If we had to bring in railroad cars of sunflower seeds, we could. We have a spur, a railroad spur right next to our facility. But most of it comes in by semis from the farmers, directly from the fields. And they get dumped into a pit, and that gets augered up into the crushing facility. And we crush 100 tons of sunflower seeds, those little tiny seeds, 100 tons a day.
Jeez.
Oh, boy. And what does that yield?
So that 1/3, about 35%, is oil, and the other 2/3 is the meal. We crush the seed, the shell, everything. So 1/3 and 2/3. 2/3 being the meal, technically, if we're going to do percentages, and the oil being the byproduct. But we're on track. Our facilities are 60 million pounds of livestock feed. 25 to 28 million pounds of oil is what our facilities can handle each year.
It brings out a pellet. Talk about the pellet that you'll see is in the feed form.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Do you have any there behind you?
I didn't. I didn't throw any pellets.
What?
I apologize.
I usually carry one in my pocket to bring.
We've ate them fresh off the pellet.
We certainly have. And I got to tell you, it's not bad tasting either.
Yeah. If you had to survive on it,
you could.
You could. It's high fiber, high fat, high protein, so it's awesome as a feed product.
We've done side-by-side comparisons with animals to have it like a grass-fed, grass-finished, grass-fed, grain-finished, and then we'd go to a grass-fed Colorado Mills finish, right? And a Colorado Mills fed, Colorado Mills finish. Did we do that as well? Straight through Colorado Mills?
Yep.
What were some of those findings? I found it fascinating. The flavor profile was intense with the Colorado Mills.
Yeah, we've done. That's a year and a half. Was the first year and a half ago we did a side by side lamb comparison with grain versus sunflowers. The animals were healthier. They yielded better. They ate about half the amount of food for feed. A third of the cost, and the flavor profile on that lamb was preferred. And we put that up against some of Denver's best chefs. Justin Brunson did our next project.
Goat.
With goats.
You like goat?
The quality of the meat.
I've ever had
Never had goat?
No.
Which is so. Yeah. Larry's never had a whiskey in his life. Never had a brown spirit.
Never had a bourbon.
Never had
Scotch.
coffee. Never had coffee. Dude, think of that.
Never had meth.
Never had meth.
That's good. That's very good. Yeah.
Standing by.
Never had a cigar.
Is Rick Robbins a possibility for this segment, do you think?
Yeah, we're trying.
How was the test with his
Hey, Zach,
connection?
real quick, have your numbers gone up? It sounds like you're doing more oil. I could have swore at one point you were only 10%, 90%. Is the 30 to 70, 30 to 66, has that gone up?
We're growing. Yeah, it's definitely growing. We've always kind of done those numbers, but a lot of time it was just getting sent out in bulk, and we never knew where it was going. But if if you look at where we were tracking it and where it's going, more of it's landing in Colorado and everything, that's where we're seeing more growth, and trackable growth and everything. But all the numbers are coming up, the amount of farmers we're supporting, the amount of feed customers, the amount of culinarians.
Well, it's growing too, right? Because, and I think we might be getting Rick right now. This could be a miracle of technology coming in here. I hate to promote it too much, but we might have an appearance. There it is. Look at that from Lamar, Rick. Colorado. We see you guys there pointing at us. We know you guys. What's happening? Can we hear them yet? It's connecting to audio. The audio's connecting. I see it happening. Maybe I'll brush up on my sign language. I love this. Just love it. Can you hear us, guys? There we go. Kevin, talk to us. I think they're afraid to say anything.
Is that why you guys had me come in studio so we wouldn't have to deal with this?
A little bit. We actually had this down pretty good yesterday. Today's a different day.
It's because I wasn't on.
No. We got to test things is what we have to do beforehand. Hey, Rick Robbins, do we have you, pal? If not, I have to apologize, and we'll continue on with Zach Johnston. Okay. Zach Johnston. I just called you the Spice Guy.
The Spice Guy, good guy.
Zach Kreider. It's interesting because right now corn, and we've talked about tilling fields over because it's less expensive than bringing your product to market, and that's happening with corn right now. Also, at the same time, this is allowing a different piece of the market because it's more profitable for the sunflowers. Am I anywhere near correct on that, Zach Kreider?
Yeah, I think so, and I think I heard Rick and Kevin with their audio, and they can really.
Oh, cool. Hey, Rick and Kevin, do we got you guys?
We're here.
Think so.
Yes.
Thumbs up from Lamar, Colorado. That's Colorado Mills Sunflower Products. We are in the office. This is the war room right now. And, guys, welcome.
World headquarters.
Yep, the official announcement of Kevin Swanson and Rick Robbins joined the Modern Eater Show. Welcome, gents.
Hi.
Hey. Good to see you. We've kind of just been going over some generic topics and talking about our love for Colorado Mills Sunflower Products when it comes to the oil. And then we went over, of course, the feed itself. But let's talk about what's happening right now as far as gearing up and getting ready, and there's more land right now for sunflower usage. Guys, could you take it away and talk about what we're looking at right now?
I'm gonna give that to Kevin. He's been in the trenches and sunflower acreage, and I'll let him go from there.
Well, it's a good year for sunflower production upcoming. I think the farmers are seeing there's an opportunity that they can make a little more profit with the potential with the sunflowers and than the other crops that they had alternatives for, and so that's boded well for us of getting acres contracted, and we've got over 25,000 acres contracted so far this year, which is kind of new, different than what we've seen over the last few years. And
which is what? Give us an idea. 25,000 this year, last year what, year before what?
Oh, it was between 15, 16, and the year before that, wow, maybe 18,000. So it's definitely up. And I think it's the profitability is what's kind of driving that for the guys planting them.
We've had a lot of acres come in early, contracting early, because not a seed's gone into the ground yet. And so, a lot of farmers have decided early that they're not going to be planting some of these other crops, which when you look at that, that puts the pressure on Zach. Now he has this.
Start selling, Zach.
How many pounds of oil is going to be coming his way that he needs to find a home for, and because that 25,000 acres turns into about 15 million pounds of oil.
Yeah, around 14 and change.
14 million pounds of oil, and
how long can you sit on it for? Can you stockpile it?
No, No, we can shoot probably.
You probably want to turn it over like within a year and a half. You know, growing season and a half.
Now, is that the seeds themselves, guys, or is that the oil? Because you wouldn't want to refine it, right? Because the oil has a shorter shelf life.
Yes,
that's correct.
The seeds would have probably a longer shelf life than if we crushed it.
Yeah.
And guys, isn't it better for farmers or for the planet really to grow your sunflowers than to grow corn?
It is less oil or less water.
I love me some corn though, Brian.
Yeah, but I love being able to make so there's good ground to grow corn later on down the road.
I get that.
That is true. The sunflower does open that ground up to help with that corn root system the following year. So they benefit each other very well. It's hard to farmers right now. This corn market just fell away from them with, quite a bit of corn turns into ethanol, which turns into, and with I heard crude prices went to below zero here a week ago. So ethanol plants can't make any money making ethanol. So they quit trying to find any corn. And that just kind of backs up the whole pipeline, which changes these acres. They're contracting acres now that sunflowers will harvest next October, and we'll be producing oil from those flowers from October of 2020 through October of 2021.
Wow. Truly incredible, the operation and the family businesses that you work with down there. We go swing through once a year to kind of see what's happening. And have you been in the sunflower field, Larry?
Never.
Oh, you haven't? Oh,
it's got to be gorgeous.
It's a sight to behold. But it's not quite as gorgeous upon harvest as well. I mean, kind of just dried over. When we're looking at the things that you're doing right now, and there's kind of this record high of being able to acquire land for planting and the low profit of corn and giving you more space available and then having more product to go to market. Where do you begin with that? Are you worried about the Zacks of the world not being able to get this to market? That's a 40% increase by my calculations.
It's kind of getting back to normal where we were.
Really?
Probably 5-6 years ago. We've had these kind of volumes coming in. You got to chisel away, got to keep working at it, and every little customer counts.
Yeah, no doubt.
And on my side, and that's where we're at. We're not only talking locally. There's enough business. I would say under normal circumstances in Colorado that we could keep every drop of oil in Colorado. So it's just getting the story out there. Mm-hmm. Look at how many food establishments are in Colorado and manufacturers are in Colorado. We can keep every drop here. It's just getting the word out and growing it and telling the story and getting in front of people and making relationships. But also looking outside of Colorado, working with distribution and manufacturers that see the value in what we have from a nutritional level, from the story level, from the impact, the environmental impact, everything that we're doing, just finding the people as the food system's changing,
Yeah.
Who do you work with?
What's this? Colorado Mills is working with CU Boulder Masters, an environmental studies program on a sustainable and energy audit through 2020. Who can speak on that?
Yeah, that's kind of one of my projects. So we were introduced to CU Boulder, Colorado University Boulder, and they have a Master's of Environmental Studies. So what we're doing is a year-long project with them and master students that are taking Colorado Mills as a project, and they are looking at our energy usage to recommend how to conserve energy. Looking at the global impact, your environmental impact. From there, the sustainability in the food system. Sustainability is very interesting. It means something different to everybody. There's not one common definition for sustainability anymore. So what does that mean, and how is your company being sustainable? And so we've been in business for 20 years. So we jumped in with this group to basically do an audit of our entire company and where we fit in the food system with all of the relationships we have, and you know, from the soil to the chef. We are looking at everything sustainability and down to packaging. And then a big part of it is our energy audit and recommendations to conserve energy. As we operate 24/7, 300 days a year on average, it takes a lot of electricities. And what's the impact of that? And how can we become more sustainable? So it's a pretty neat project. It's a big project. It's a lot of layers to it. But we'll be keeping people informed on how it's going and what we're going to do as a company to better ourselves, better the food system, better the environment, better the relationships.
Zach, do any of your farmers get subsidies because your sunflower farming is really beneficial for the environment, really beneficial. Low till, there's so many things. I know Phil Taylor with Mad Ag out of Boulder, he's working to get these farmers. Do the Uhlans, is anyone ever able to get some subsidies for what they're doing? Good?
I'll have to turn that over to the head.
Not to my knowledge. I mean, they have certain practices that they follow. They try to conserve energy too, with not using as much diesel as by tilling as much ground. Trying to do minimal tillage. Some of the guys are no-till. So there are some guys working with those avenues, but as far as a subsidy,
farm subsidies are a lot to do with pricing, and what a lot of people don't understand. The main reason farmers get subsidies in any crops they grow is because the government, anytime they put an embargo on a certain country, or they say, okay, well, we'll sell you this product, or we won't sell you this product, or we're going to increase our tariffs to certain things. That affects that farmer, whether he can sell soybeans to Russia or to China or to those different countries. And by, back in the 70s when I was in high school, they always termed it, the government uses food as a weapon in some ways to get countries to do what they want them to do. So in trade for that, that's reason that some of these farmers get subsidies on some of this, because they're not allowed to have, quote, free trade to a lot of these certain countries. We've come a long way since the 70s with our trade agreements with Mexico and Canada, and still one with China. It works and it doesn't work, and they go back, but it's always been that issue of how do we keep our farmers, because they do understand, and I hope everybody out there understands, that grocery store, and we've seen some of that in this latest deal here. Somebody has a run on something, there's only so many trucks to get that product to one spot in one time. So, everything has to work precisely to keep food in front of people, and that food has to come from all these different aspects that we're talking about today.
Well said. I mean, absolutely. Guys, as we exit here, I want to turn it back over to Rick and Kevin. What are some things that we need to know, especially going into this year? And I'm just happy to see that you guys are in full production right now, and the safety standards are always high, but continuing to be high as well. We'll be back down there to see you guys, but what can we expect in 2020 and 2021 from you guys?
We're not going to be too many quiet days when new crop comes on. We're going to be, our machinery is going to have to be in tip-top shape coming into new crop. We're not going to be able to hiccup too many times with that many seeds out there needing to be processed. And what I'm excited about is we always talk about what's next. We're looking at some of our oils going into some of the pet food products. Pet food companies are wanting as healthy and sometimes healthier products into their products than the food companies are. And And same with the.
I mean, first of all, pause right there. That's amazing to hear, right? Pet food companies.
We'll spend more on our animals' health than we will on our own, which is a crazy stat.
Blows my mind away.
Well, I think we're going to see the monounsaturated fats. We have 2 universities looking at this, that it's actually improving the marbling in the meat of their animals. And now we have them actually looking at what the composition of that fat is. Is it higher on monounsaturated and less unsaturated fats than some of the regularly fed animals? So that's maybe what's on the horizon next.
Yeah. Kevin?
Yeah, and the one thing, we stuck our foot in the water a little bit on the organic side of it, and we're going to have a few more organic acres next year. I don't know if we're quite double what we had last year, but we're at least 40% more organic acres coming on this year. So that'll bode a few more organic products that we can sell out there for the oil.
I'm happy to hear that.
On the meal side of it, too.
We talk about it all the time. Know your farmer, right? I mean, know what's going on and what's behind the production and the people behind it as well. Family-owned business. How many years has Colorado Mills been around?
Started in 1999. I think Kevin walked in the door when they first called it Colorado Mills. I think he was here from day one. I came in 2002.
Yeah, fantastic. Say hello to Doug Hewlin for us.
You will.
He's always watching.
Yeah, we'll see.
We love what you guys are doing, so I thank you, because you are such a big part of the ag community in Colorado, and I don't think people realize it. But, you know, our hats are off to you guys at Colorado Mills.
And thank you for all you do.
If you want a safe place to come, we have a 4-county area out here, which is Benton, Prowers, Kiowa, and Cheyenne. We have 0.
Wow, congratulations on that. And don't tempt us.
Isn't that natural social distancing, though, you guys?
We use the 6-mile distancing.
Oh, Zach, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
You bet.
Nice seeing you all.
Great to see you guys smile, man.
Good to see them. All right, that's Colorado Mills Sunflower Products, and we talk about it. Know your farmer.
Thank you, guys.
Larry, you got to know your farmer.
I knew nothing about this.
Well, I know, and it's interesting. It's one of those things you got to go back on, and getting to know her farmers more and more, and local. She's turning into a champion for local. Dr. Sara Metz joins us on the show right now. Hey, Doc, you're muted. You are me. You're like, yes, yes, I am.
Yes, I am. Guess what I'm doing?
You're playing a game?
No. I am ordering Colorado Mills sunflower oil.
Are you really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, was that a BlackBerry? What?
What are you ordering that off of, Dr. Babery? That is
normal.
I never had a BlackBerry.
Now you were cooking chicken wings last night with the Spice Guy spices.
I was, and I sent a lot of smoke into my house, and now I know from this conversation that I use sunflower oil, so I'll put that aside for a minute. But I'm ordering sunflower oil.
Awesome. You're ordering it direct?
I am.
Well,
I went to their website.
Here's one thing that we did not talk about is they have a line of skincare products from the. I know.
You know, Greg, that was Greg's hook and line. Just so you know, he's like, "Hey, what about these products?"
Little girl, and say, "What do you mean by that? Are you trying to say something about my skin?"
Melting now, so I don't even know how to respond to that. Can't win on that one. And then Sangre's Best, you got their beef?
I got their beef. I have not made their beef yet because it was very, very frozen, and so I made wings, and I will make hamburgers soon.
Did it come in patties already made? Patties?
Yeah, it did.
Oh.
In big bulk. I can take you guys down there and you can stare in my freezer if you want.
We like to do that. How's everybody doing? Is there anybody in particular that needs some mental health stuff right now? Because I'm going to get to a kind of a serious topic with Doctor in a second. So
no, go for it. This I want to hear.
So everyone stand back.
I know.
I'm used to that. Kids always sit in the back of the room when I'm around. Yep.
Doctor, in the news, and I can't help but draw attention to it, the frontline worker that took her own life.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say that's, we should see a certain amount of that just because it's life and every day. But here seems to be a fairly normal, adjusted person that life just took a hold of her. And,
Yeah, and I think unfortunately we're going to see more of that. Healthcare workers in the past, so I work a lot with emergency responders, but we have always noticed the healthcare workers in the hospitals, they don't have a lot of mental health care available. And you think about what's the personality of a healthcare worker, an ER doctor, that kind of person, they're very used to being able to kind of put their emotions aside. But during a time like this, they're so completely overwhelmed. They're not sleeping. They don't have time for self-care. And so it's getting really overwhelming really quickly. And so unfortunately, I think that we're going to see some more suicidal thoughts, attempted suicides, completed suicides, and we're going to have to do a lot to take care of those folks. So I've had some hospitals reach out to Code 4 Counseling to try to get some mental health services lined up. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that because I think we've got a whole industry that's completely wiped out in terms of their energy reserves right now.
Well, these are, our brothers and sisters and mothers and daughters, and these are folks around us. And, you think someone who's, seemingly so put together just where they are in life. What are some things that we can look for as signs? And you hear from like withdrawal, those types of things. But, is there a way to prevent these things, Doctor?
There is, and we're seeing a lot. So suicide has been on the forefront of emergency responder psychology and something we're worried about because more people die from suicide. For example, with law enforcement, more people die from suicide than they die in the line of duty. Wow. And a big part of that is there's so much stigma attached to getting help for mental health. And for a long time, people have thought, well, that makes me weak. People are going to think I can't do my job.
Mm-hmm, sure.
So there's symptoms and signs that we can look for in the individual, but we also have to really create culture change in a lot of different industries that say we need to have more open dialogue about mental health and about kind of what I've talked about with you guys is it's okay to say you're not at 100%. It's okay to say you're having a rough day. That doesn't mean anyone should be judging you, and you can still, be doing your job and be struggling. And so we need to really encourage those conversations so that the conversation around suicide isn't one that is shaming. For an ER doc, my guess is she felt like, well, I can't tell anyone I'm struggling because look at everyone else. They're all out here. They're all working. What's wrong with me that I feel like I can't do my job anymore? And unfortunately, that kind of creates some isolation and withdrawal, and then people struggle on their own. So like you said, we want people to reach out if they notice in somebody else, hey, I'm noticing they're starting to isolate more than is normal. Right now, that's hard to pick up on because of everything going on. If you see increased irritability and anger, when we think of depression, we often think of sadness being the primary emotion. But for a lot of type A people and a lot of men, sadness is not the primary emotion you're going to see when someone's really struggling. You're going to see more irritability and anger. So if you see that, we need you to lean into it and check on people. What's interesting is we'll lean into somebody who's struggling with sadness and say, what can I do? How can I take care of you? With someone who's angry, we tend to lean away and say they're just being out of sorts today. They need to just deal with it. And we push them aside and want them to handle anger on their own. We've got to, again, change the culture to say anger and irritability in this sort of culture with healthcare workers, in the restaurant industry, with emergency responders. Anger and irritability is actually a sign of stress and depression. So we really need to bring those people back into the fold so they aren't struggling and starting to really fall off the cliff and people don't notice it.
It's a tall order to do that.
It's a huge tall order.
Lean into that, right?
Well, and it's crazy what's going on in hospitals because hospitals are losing money and they're cutting staff right now, so that's got to be stressful. And my sister's out in Burbank. They're cutting 20% of her staff because they have all these beds that aren't making money, and that sounds crazy, but they have to make money. You have that. I don't know if you read that article that came out about Russia yesterday. Nurses are walking off the job because the conditions for nurses in Russia are so bad. And now all of a sudden the pandemic is in Russia. And I don't know if you saw the picture of Putin yesterday in a full suit being responsible. But the nurses are like, we're out. You pay us $50 a week. We're done.
Right.
So there's a
The
lot of
risk is high.
yeah. We are in a crazy time right now. I mean, really, we are. And the anger thing, you nailed it. And Greg, remember, I was dealing with that, and no one knew I was. To Dr. Sarah's point, I was showing up upset, irritable. And I didn't recognize that was my own depression, and it was tied into a seasonal depression that I hadn't really identified for 20 years. Mm-hmm. But it was a culmination of selling my business, waking up to COVID the day after I sold my business, and being in a completely different world. So I thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sarah, for talking about
I know a lot of times, Doctor, that when you're on and, we're laughing and having fun, but seeing you in your element of the help that you can provide, it's invaluable, the clarity that you have in that, and you can tell that this is what you do for a living. But folks need to know about Code 4 counseling and the things that you do. You've leaned into the restaurant industry, which is just, thank you. We love you for doing that. But folks, to learn more information, if that is something to where you don't want to lean in because this is a volatile situation, or you suspect something, or you want more information, you have resources, and I think you'd like to provide those for people.
I can provide those resources, and I think what we're also seeing right now is there's so much information out there. I think a lot of people feel like they're getting waterboarded by mental health services and all of this input and self-care, and you should be doing this, you should be meditating, you should be doing yoga, and you should be doing all of these things. If people are struggling and they almost feel overwhelmed and they don't know where to turn, feel free. I'm very active. Code 4 Counseling is very active on Facebook. You can visit the website, code4counseling.com, and message me that way. If you just need resources and a direction, even if you don't necessarily feel like our organization would be a good fit for you, most of the work we do is with emergency responders and healthcare workers, but we do some work with the restaurant industry. And I'm always happy to point people in a direction if they're struggling and they need help, but they don't know what the best resource is for them. Absolutely reach out, and I'm happy to kind of point you in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think that goes for all of us. Just reach out to somebody. We'll point to Dr. Sarah, and you'll give us the resources for that. It's that time, of course, right now. Here we go.
Even if you don't necessarily feel our organization would be a good fit for you.
Oh, man, Greg, let's go. Got to take this off. We got that. Doctor, it's been a good day, but I want to tell you one thing. At 5:30 here on the Modern Eater Show, or 5:30 here in Molly's Liquid Lounge, there's a show that's jumping off, and it's going to be a beer show tonight. So sit back, I know you're a spirits gal. Get yourself a cocktail.
I'm there.
5:30 to 6:30, it's Molly's Liquid Lounge. That's going to be good. Larry's going to stick around for a few minutes here with me. Brian Freeman, thank you for being here today. Bob Pease from the Brewers Association. Just terrible numbers about the breweries. Charlie Gottenkieny, Zach Kreider, Colorado Mill Sunflower Products, Larry Herz. And if you want to have lunch, I don't know the name. I'll call lunch with Larry. What's for lunch? What's for lunch?
Tomorrow I got the lake house.
You got the lake house. And if you want to be on What's for Lunch, just contact Larry.
DM me. Love to have you on.
Jay Parker, thank you. And we're going to call it good for today, tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, 2 p.m. Mary Mino is going to be on from the Colorado Restaurant Foundation. She has a big announcement. She's going to do it here on the Modern Eater Show. And we'll see you tomorrow right here and back here at 2 p.m. The Modern Eater Show continues. Bye, Doc.
Bye.